We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here wherever you may be, and of course, however you may be listening. This is, of course, the Iowa versus Utah State postgame show. I did let you guys know that I was planning on starting a Big Ten whip around show to really the reason for that is that the channel has grown tremendously, and I think I've received a lot of comments that starting a whip around show would, or at the very least, if I talked about the Big Ten at large, that the channel would just, grow tremendously. And so I think that is a good idea to go ahead and do that. And we'll see how it goes. So let me go ahead and share. Well, actually, let's start here. I'm gonna go ahead and share this out on Facebook, get more people here. Let's go ahead and do this just for now. Iowa football. Before I really delve into my thoughts on Iowa's 10-point win over Utah State. Let's see here. So it'll take just a few moments, guys. Hang tight. Just going to share this out, and then we will totally dive into Iowa versus Utah State and my thoughts on it. So go ahead and get in the comment section. Totally tear it up in there. It does help a lot. The more comments that the video has, the better the video does. So Iowa really started as impressively as you can start. I was very pleased with Iowa's start to the game. 2 touchdown passes from Cade McNamara. I think he even threw a touchdown pass on his very first pass. Could be wrong about that. I did start watching the game a little bit late. And Iowa was looking like they were going to score 30 plus points in this game. But of course, and now you can credit Utah State if you want, but I think it more has to do with, of course, Iowa going back to their normal Iowa Hawkeye way. By the way, guys, I will read the comments. I'll check in periodically to the comments. If you guys want to send a super chat, donate to the channel, support your boy's coffee habit, I would greatly appreciate that. Of course, it's not necessary. As I said, I will be starting a Big Ten whip around show. I've had a lot of people tell me now, of course, they could be just sucking up, who knows, but I have been told by not just Iowa fans, but I would say Big Ten fans at large that they would really like to see a kind of all-encompassing Big Ten show. And so I'm going to try that out. I think I will be posting that on Sundays and Mondays to just collectively discuss the Big Ten and my thoughts on it. I think I'll probably do a power ranking in that video. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it live yet, or if I am going to pre-record it. I think I'm probably just going to pre-record it. And that is what we'll do. Okay, one more thing I want to do here. So Iowa started really, really well in this game, and they were off to the races. And wouldn't you know it, Iowa, of course, started to do Iowa Hawkeye things by just keeping it reserved. And if you're thinking about Brian Ferentz offense, his contract, what he has to do, and just the offense in general, whether today was a positive, a bright spot, did they make improvements? I think there were some decent things, but I always tell you guys that Brian Ferentz is only one piece to the puzzle, and ultimately Kirk Ferentz is the head chef. I always liken it to Kirk Ferentz is the head chef and Brian Ferentz is the sous chef. I think that's what it would be. And Brian still has to operate within the scope of what Kirk Ferentz wants. And so it may be tough, not purely because of Brian Ferentz, for Brian Ferentz to meet the contractual agreements or expectations if every time Iowa gets up by double points, they basically pack it in and kind of run out the clock until it's over, which is essentially what we saw a lot today. But I will say, what did I like today? I liked seeing the tight end involvement. I thought, by and large, Cade McNamara looked pretty solid. He went 17 of 30, 191 yards, 2 TDs. And here's the other thing, guys. Iowa had, I believe it was in the same drive, had a few touchdown passes dropped. There was the one, LaShawn Williams, that was about 2 yards out, that he would have just, all he had to do was catch it. It was perfectly placed. All he had to do was catch it, and the ball would almost immediately be across the goal line. So you have to take that into account as well. And this is week one. There are going to be things like that occur. So Iowa, could have, with their normal game plan, could have hung 30, possibly even 36 on Utah State. I do think that Utah State will be a better team than they were last year. I would not be surprised if they are a 7-8 win team, hell, even a 9-win team, because of the conference that they're in. They have a really solid head coach. And as I said in my preview video, this Utah State, in my opinion, in estimation, this is a really, really solid first game. Not too difficult, but not too light of a game for Iowa. It sucks ass that Iowa gave up that final touchdown because, being the Iowa Hawkeye fan that I am, I would love for Iowa to win by as many points as possible so they remain in the top 25. And too often have we seen Iowa kind of have these lackluster wins, but they still win and they lose kind of any momentum that they had in the polling system. But there were some good passing concepts that I saw from Brian Ferentz, some good routes. I think Caleb Johnson having 63 yards was a decent performance. I think the offensive line looked pretty good. And as I said in the preview video, what the depth chart was before the game started and what Iowa actually trotted out there are two different things. And we saw with Rusty Feth that we saw a slightly different offensive line than what was in the depth chart. Now, I don't have it from left to right. I'll probably have to, if somebody can put that in the comments, what they saw as the starting from left to right offensive line for the Iowa Hawkeyes, I would greatly appreciate it. Cade McNamara, 17 of 30, 191 yards, 2 tubs. Caleb Johnson, 19 carries, 63 yards, 1 tub. Luke Lachey, well on his way to being the next great Iowa tight end, 7 receptions, 73 yards. I actually think Luke Lachey has as much upside as any of the tight ends we've seen come through Iowa recently. And I always say that a lot of people think, even some fans think, that Iowa is not athletic. They absolutely are. Iowa is very athletic. You see Sam Laporta totally tears it up at the combine. Riley, all these other players totally tear it up. So when I'm saying that, it's not like Noah Fant, very athletic. When I say that, it's not like Iowa has had scrubs at the tight end position or non-athletic guys. They have. So he's off to a very good start, 73 yards. Seth Anderson, it was good as I predicted. Seth Anderson would be the at least early on, would be the better wide receiver, like I said, at least early on, the better wide receiver addition over Caleb Brown that Iowa has received. I mean, folks, regardless of Seth Anderson being in a smaller conference or not, it's still Division I football. And he still was the offensive player of the year in that conference. So regardless, it was really impressive. And he's been doing good things. Let's look at the team stats real quick, and then we'll go to the comments. Total yards, Iowa still only had 284 yards of offense. Guys, isn't it incredible that Iowa can win a game by 10 points? They would have won by like 14 had they not given up the last touchdown and scored at least one of the drop touchdowns. They can still win by that much, and they did not even win the total yard battle. 284 yards to 329. Passing yards, 196 to 213. Rushing yards, 88 to 116. That must improve. Iowa needs to get back to averaging at least 90-plus yards rushing every single game as a team. At least. I mean, I would say 100 yards rushing as a team needs to happen. 4.1 yards per play. First down, 16 to 20. Third down efficiency, 6 to 17. Total plays, 69 to 72. Punts, 7 to 6. Penalties, Iowa had 7. They're going to have to clean that up. Fumbles lost, 0 to 0. Interceptions, 1 to 0. Xavier Wanpa with the INT. Time of possession, 32:09 to 27:51. Let's go ahead and, so this is Utah State stats. You guys can go ahead and pause that if you guys want to look at it. I just went ahead and scrolled through them. Let's look at Iowa's offense stats. 17 to 30, 2 tubs. Caleb Johnson, 19 for 63. Caden Wedgkin, 3 carries, 22 yards. LaShawn Williams, 6 for 16. I really want to see Josiah Patterson. I really do. I think he is the change of pace back that Iowa needs, that they're missing right now. Caleb Johnson does have speed. He is a very athletic running back, but Josiah has that in-between quickness that I'm hoping that he gets more run. Seth Anderson, 2 receptions, 41 yards. He had a drop pass over by the sideline in the first half. It was a good play by the Utah State DB to jostle it out of Seth Anderson's grasp. Nico Ragaini, a.k.a. Nico Ragaini, a.k.a. Nico Ragaini, 2 receptions, 36 yards. Josiah, 2 for 19. Eric All, 3 for 15. Caleb Johnson, 1 for 54 on kick returns. So that's pretty much it. All right, guys, let's go ahead and look at the comments. I mean, there's just, listen, guys, ultimately, there's not a ton to talk about in this game. It was a classic Iowa performance. Iowa's defense is stellar. They are amazing. They are elite. I'm a little bit concerned, though, about the special teams unit. The special teams unit kind of looks shaky. There was the tipped kick that, due to Torrey Taylor having such a strong leg, it still ended up okay. But man, that Iowa is going to have to clean that up next week against Iowa State. I mean, 100%. All right, let's read the comments. Ari Gold, boom. What's up, Ari? We got the W. It started off so well. So true. Looked like a typical Iowa opener, very NFL preseason-esque. Liked K. Defense was swarming, but room to improve. Well said. I couldn't agree more myself. Ari 1-0. Running game is not good. Fast outdoor food. Yeah, it did not look good today, but I think Iowa has the talent at the running back position. I really do. It's just, I think it's part scheme. I think it's part offensive line. I think it's part that it's the first game of the season. I mean, there's quite a few things that are playing a role with this. Oh, yeah. If they get the ball sooner and don't have those pointless penalties, they probably win the game. I don't remember seeing Caleb Brown very often. I don't think he recorded a reception in this game. But yes, I would definitely like to see him more. Actually, Seth Anderson might be number 3. Let's see if that's who you're. Let's see. No, Seth Anderson is number 6. So yeah, I agree. I would love to see Caleb Brown get out there, but of course, in classic Iowa Hawkeye way, they're taking their time with him. They're taking their time, and of course, they can't just throw him out there since Deontay Vines and Nico Regani have been a part of the program for years. They can't do that. So, but I would like to see him too. I had the Hawks -24 in the overs. My kids won't be able to eat tonight. That's classic Iowa. I would never bet on Iowa if I was you. Never, because they are so hard to predict. CJ's World, early game looked great. They almost change pace second quarter on, back to old BF. Listen, CJ, I agree with the comment, but it's part Brian, it's part Kirk, because ultimately Kirk is the one making the decision of how they are going to proceed as a team. And what always happens is when Iowa gets up by 10 points, the decision is put into place that they're just going to slow it down. So, and it sucks. I wish Iowa just hung 30 plus points on Utah State like they could have. Yes, his first pass was a touchdown. Cade not being healthy, though, this was impressive. True. Well, that was better than last year. Brian didn't adjust to Utah State's adjustments. True. T-Hawk, same old Iowa. In some ways, yes, but I think in other ways, Iowa did look a little bit better. But let me tell you guys, if you expected sweeping changes from this Iowa Hawkeye offense, I kept saying all preseason that was not going to be the case. Okay. Brian Ferentz and Kirk Ferentz are still coaches on this team. And as long as that's the case, you're not going to see sweeping changes. And Brian Ferentz said as much in the offseason. He said, we're not going to become a spread offense. We're not, so I just would not expect that. The only expectation that I think is reasonable for Iowa's offense is that given the scheme that they have, that they can hopefully average 25 plus points a game. I know that's very sad to say, but it's the truth. Vanilla football. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, not bad. It's not bad. But to tell you the truth, I have tons of friends on Facebook that I don't really even know who they are. But she may have been somebody that I went to high school with. I can't remember. The offense definitely has potential. Lachey looked really good. The defense gave up more yards than Iowa's offense could muster. Dijon was quiet today. I think that was more of a product of Utah State not wanting to challenge him. True. But he did also have a chance at the one INT that he missed. Would have liked to see that. Ugly win. Paul Hoffer. Good to see you, Paul. Brian needed to buy a point. 24 isn't enough. I agree. Iowa needs to score at least 25 points a game. Oh, yeah. Message retracted. A 25-point average for 7 games for $50,000 penalty. This doesn't have the pressure as Brian Ferentz has earned. Iowa has spent more in defending lawsuits than Brian Ferentz could ever be penalized for. Poor productivity. Yeah, there's probably some truth to that. But, I think it just depends. That's a tough one, because if you think that the accusations were not legitimate and you care about, from that perspective, justice being served, then you would potentially want Iowa to fight it as much as possible, because from that perspective, they had not done anything wrong. Now, I'm not giving my opinion on the matter. I've talked about it often in the past, but they have spent a lot of money on it. That is true. But folks, Big Ten football, especially a school like Iowa, has a shite ton of money pumping through the program. 11-1, and hopes are still alive for me. Me too. I think that Iowa has the talent to be an 11-win team, no problem. Talking about 3 on Utah State, whoops, as he was rolling through RD in fourth quarter. Brian and Kurt can't play for the kids. Was the defense as bad as people are chatting? Of course not. I thought the defense was fine. They put the starters only allowed 6 points. So I think it was okay. So no, the defense was fine. I have no idea what that's coming from. So, all right, guys, that is pretty much it. Not a ton to talk about. I think this was a classic Iowa Hawkeye first game. There was some good, there was some bad. I think if you take into account at least one drop touchdown pass, you can look at it a little bit more optimistically. But regardless, Iowa must figure out a way to run the damn football. We cannot have a third year in a row where Iowa is this atrocious, god-awful running team, especially when it's a team like Iowa. That is what they put into place so they can be successful. Everything stems from their ability to run the football. That is the cornerstone of the Iowa offense, which is a big reason why the offense as a whole has struggled, because the run game struggled, which is the cornerstone of the offense. So they must figure that out. They have to. The defense looked good. By and large, Iowa needs to shore up the special teams, and we have Cyhawk Week. So stay tuned for the whip around video that I do for the Big Ten. I think that will go really well. And of course, I will drop the Iowa versus Iowa State game preview. I believe one of the Iowa State players, Remsburg, only got suspended for 6 games as opposed to the entire season. So perhaps that's a win for them. Let's see if we can watch. Goes over the top of his defender to make a catch versus Utah State. So some things to like, some things not to. And we will see what Iowa is able to get worked out against Iowa State. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. You guys know the drill. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow in facts or feelings, because your feelings don't matter. Love you guys. See you guys next time, and go Hawks. Bye-bye.